They called her invisible, until the moment she broke the silence with a snap. Marley James was the kind of girl who could walk through a crowded hallway without anyone noticing. Small-framed, soft-spoken, and always seated in the back row, she was the type of student teachers often forgot to call on. Her voice barely rose above a whisper, and she never had a group to sit with at lunch. But it wasn't because she was weak. It was because she chose silence over attention. Until the day her silence was taken from her. It had started months ago, when her family moved to a new town after her father's deployment overseas. Marley had always been close to him, the only person who truly saw her. His absence left a shadow over her life, one she carried like a quiet burden. Her mom tried to fill the space, but raising 3 kids on her own while working nights wasn't easy. Marley never complained. She just kept her head down, kept walking, and stayed out of everyone's way. But middle school doesn't respect quiet strength. It eats it. The girls in 8th grade noticed Marley's silence before anyone else. They were the kind that fed off attention, loud laughs, perfect hair, loud gum-popping confidence. Taylor, the leader of the group, didn't like what she couldn't understand. Marley's calm bothered her. It wasn't fear. It was something else, like she didn't care what Taylor thought. And that made Taylor furious. It began with whispers and smirks. Then came the rumors, she thinks she's better than us. She talks to herself in class. Her dad left her and now she's crazy. Marley didn't react. And her quiet became an open invitation. One afternoon, while the hallway buzzed with students preparing for dismissal, Marley stopped by her locker. Her hands were full of books, her backpack slung low over one shoulder. She didn't notice the 3 girls walking toward her, Taylor, Brooke, and Alyssa, until they blocked her in from both sides. "Hey ghost girl," Taylor smiled cruelly. "You gonna ignore us again?" Marley said nothing. She turned her key and opened her locker. Brooke shoved the door closed. "Don't be rude," she hissed. "We're talking to you." Still, Marley didn't speak. Her heart beat faster, but her eyes remained steady. Alyssa reached for her hair and tugged gently. "I heard your dad left because even he didn't want to talk to you." That one landed. Marley's jaw clenched, but she still didn't reply. Instead, she stepped back, trying to walk around them. Taylor grabbed her wrist. And in that split second, the room shifted. Time slowed. Marley's body reacted before her mind did. Her feet anchored to the floor. Her free hand twisted under Taylor's grip, and with a practiced, fluid motion, she spun her wrist, dropped her weight, and snapped Taylor's hand out of alignment. A loud pop. Taylor screamed and stumbled backward, clutching her wrist. Brooke lunged forward in shock, trying to grab Marley's shoulder, but Marley turned, blocked her arm, and flipped her flat onto the hallway floor. Alyssa froze. Her hand halfway raised. She wasn't laughing anymore. Marley didn't move toward her. She just looked at her. Calm. Still silent. The hallway, moments ago full of noise, went completely still. Someone had filmed it. Dozens watched. Teachers rushed in. Taylor was crying. Brooke couldn't get up. Alyssa backed into a wall. And Marley. She stood there like nothing had happened. Chest rising and falling slowly. Like she'd done this before. Because she had. What no one knew was that Marley had been training in jiu-jitsu since she was 5. Her father had taught her in the garage after school. He always said, "You don't fight with anger. You fight with control. Let them think you're fragile, until they reach for you." For years, she never needed it. Until now. Later, in the principal's office, Marley sat calmly while the girls sobbed and spun lies. But the video didn't lie. Nor did the crowd of witnesses. And for once, the truth wasn't something Marley had to say out loud. It was already known. The school called Marley's mother. She arrived in her work uniform, eyes wide with concern, until she saw her daughter sitting with her hands folded, unshaken. "They tried to hurt her," a teacher explained softly. But she protected herself. Her mom didn't scold her. She didn't ask why. She just placed her hand on Marley's and said, "Your dad would be proud." That night, Marley practiced alone in the garage, her movements slow and focused. Not out of anger, but out of healing. For the first time, she didn't feel invisible anymore, not because people noticed her now, but because she had finally allowed herself to be seen. Word spread quickly. The bullies were suspended. The video went viral. But Marley didn't care about any of that. She didn't need followers. She needed peace. And she had earned it. The next time someone bumped into her in the hallway, they apologized. Not out of fear, but out of something else. Respect. Marley still sat in the back of the class. Still walked quietly to her locker. But now, people moved out of her way, not because they were scared of her, but because they finally understood. Quiet doesn't mean weak. Stillness doesn't mean submission. And just because someone doesn't roar doesn't mean they won't fight when it matters. Message. Never underestimate the quiet one. Behind their silence might be a strength trained in discipline, sharpened in pain, and waiting for the right moment to rise, not to destroy, but to defend. And when that moment comes, the world listens.